We're here at the Sacred Heart Music Center in Duluth with Eric Swanson. I would call him the maestro of Sacred Heart. Thank you for having us in your beautiful space.
Oh, welcome. Glad to have you here.
You are the maestro. That's what I'll call you.
I wear a bunch of hats. My main thing is I run the Sacred Heart recording studio. So I'm the chief engineer of that. I'm also the director of the Sacred Heart Music Center, which is the nonprofit that owns and operates the building. And then I also facilitate and instruct at the Music Resource Center, which is another after-school music program administrated by the Armory Arts and Music Center.
They get a lot out of you.
I'm a busy man, I am.
We hear in the background some construction.
Yes.
And, tell us a little bit about Sacred Heart. It's not a brand new building.
No, Sacred Heart is the old Catholic cathedral in town. It's built in 1894. It houses one of the oldest, if not the oldest, pipe organ in Minnesota. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. It has a marvelous acoustics, and you just can't replace a space like this.
So what are they actually working on up there?
One of the rooms upstairs is being repaired and retrofitted to become a little recording booth for the Music Resource Center. The Music Resource Center is not like a traditional curriculum-based music education thing. It's more kids can come here. They have all these resources available to them. They can play, they can hang out with other kids their own age that they might not meet. They get to learn how to record, they get to learn how to write songs. They have access to all kinds of instruments and technology that, a lot of these kids are low income, underprivileged perhaps, that would not have access to that kind of situation otherwise.
Power of music. Somehow it got you. Tell me a little bit about how you ended up in the sound engineering, sound recording world.
I don't know. I've always liked music and sound since I was a kid. My dad had a wire recorder, which was predated tape recorders, two little spools of wire that you could magnetically record on with a microphone and play it back. And I was fascinated by that. I grew up in the 60s, and music was very, very important then. I was very taken by the whole, the Beatles and the Stones and the, Motown and all that stuff. And I could play music, but I was never a great player. I was always I found a way to be involved was to be more involved with the technical end of it.
I know you took a trip out to the West Coast. What's that journey like?
I grew up in Duluth. I'm originally from Iowa City, Iowa, but I grew up in Duluth. I spent the whole decade of the 80s in Los Angeles working for the music business in one form or another, and touring around the world with various bands, and came back here and did more music and live sound, a lot of live sound, also touring around the country quite a bit. We started the recording studio in 2001, so I've mostly concentrated on that since then.
You started out with a vision and I think we can do this, and obviously a lot of experience, but then what's happened with that?
Well, luckily at the time the studio started, the music scene in Duluth was really happening right around 2000, 2001, 2002. The North Shore was going great guns, and the whole Duluth Does Dylan thing had happened, and we were getting a lot of press, and so we all decided that we needed some way to document all this stuff that was going on. And so just through a bunch of interesting circumstances, the equipment became available, the space became available, I became available, and the things kind of all fell into place.
What kind of character is Sacred Heart in that?
Well, Sacred Heart has a very distinct signature, acoustically. You can certainly tell records that have been recorded here. The building as a church, was built for the pipe organ and choirs, and they both sound sublime. The organ especially sounds sublime in this room. Cello and piano, sonata and string quartets and other solo flute recordings, things like that. It all just sound amazing in here. Native flute sounds really great in here. I practically had to drag Keith Secola out of here because he got in here with his flute and was just so tripping on the place. It's a lot of fun to help people, realize their dreams, and make records.
Well, thank you very much for your work. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.